Ladies and gentlemen, order in the court. Today's proceedings finds the people versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down? Bosses refusing the payout? Hit and run leave you stunned? Drug lords in your future? Well, maybe not. Because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll get you the defense that you deserve. But only if you say the words.
Oh no, I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh, wait, I know. Better call Saul. Nice save. You came in more hot than I did. So, without further ado, court is now in session.
You will atone.
That's right, Dragon. And tonight we're talking Rock and Hard Place, Season 6, Episode 3. Drake, we need the inside-out tissues just immediately.
Yep, that we do.
Break them out.
So we should probably just warn folks.
Do. You want to explain the inside-out tissues just because it's been a minute since we've even brought them up?
Well, the simple fact of the matter is, folks, Inside Out, very emotional film, so much so that film should have come with its own brand of patented inside-out tissues, all the emotion. Because they do come out with branding, like Pixar-themed tissues and such. Why not the inside-out tissues? And they should have given them out at the theater when everybody walked in. So it's become a running gag at this point. So
and AMC should have given them out with every episode of this because, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Dragon, I'm going to just say something hyperbolic here, all right? I think this episode might be in the top 5 of both Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad.
It was very good.
I think it's up there. And I think as far as finales go, as far as, like, final scenes go, I honestly think the only thing that rivals it as far as intensity goes is Ozymandias and Crawl Space. But other than those two, like, obvious ones, like, this is just some of the most gut-wrenching, just edge of your seat, like, nail-biting. Oh, my God.
Well, let's be honest. You're not going to beat Crawl Space or
Ozymandias. Dragon, even when Crawl Space happened, I was kind of just like, all right, I'm along for the ride to see what happens. But, my God, it's going to be hard to top that. But yeah, Dragon, holy shit. I mean, let's give it up to Michael Mandow, first of all, because my God, I mean, the dude, he was in 3 episodes this season, Dragon, but he deserves an Emmy.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Banks should personally present him with said Emmy.
He should. I just want to see Jonathan Banks, like, just sitting comfortably in a chair on stage and, like, doing a crossword. Then it's like, oh, right, you want me to present the award? All right. And he gets up. This is present the Emmy for outstanding supporting performance in a drama. Big surprise. It's Michael Mandow. Little Prince, get up here.
Oh my God.
But get up.
So,
here,
Dragon,
man.
what are your thoughts on this episode, just generally?
Yeah, well, I mean, I mean, your prediction came true. We did get the Nacho episode. I think we expected it in episode 2. We got it for 3 and appropriately for a final for him. It was great. It was a thing of beauty. We closed the arc on that character just utterly perfectly. On the rewatch, it held up even better. Which, I mean, honestly, it probably happens. Honestly, every time I rewatch Better Call Saul, I'm always finding things and enjoying myself even more with it. So, no brainer, but still, just like, oh man, everything obviously with the cold open and everything kind of loops back around once you've seen it. But just what we say with Nachos, with by the end of this episode with Nacho, it's something really special. I think we're saying that kind of does resonate with what his role was in the context of the Albuquerque verse as a whole. So I was really dazzled with, man, we really did have a look at how, honestly, Tiki, I look at this episode in so many regards, but particularly with the Nacho Varga stories, and look at how far Nacho Varga came from season 1 of Better Call Saul to the end. Just see how far this young man came from, like, even just going back to Breaking Bad. Like, he was like a little throwaway. It was Ignacio, and look how far we went with him.
Dragon, this is a character that was literally spun off of one singular
Yeah.
line of dialogue.
I mean, look at how far we've gone with both Lalo and Nacho.
Yeah, it's crazy, and they're both kind of like forming the end game. I definitely have my mind is just swimming with predictions and theories. We'll get into that. Dragon, let's give credit to where credit's due. I believe we have kind of like a new-ish director and like a veteran writer. Is that correct?
Well, it's not entirely correct. So, Gordon Smith, the Wonderkin, basically the Dan Scanlon of the
Gordon
bunch,
Smith directed this?
and wrote it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad.
Yeah,
I don't know why I
it's
was
not like I
thinking that.
told you this at the end of last episode or anything. Yeah.
Okay, I knew he wrote it. I just wasn't aware he directed it too. But yeah, Gordon Smith, let's just shout him out because Dragon, I really do feel like he's kind of like one of Vince Gilligan's aces in the hole when it comes to just like cracking out just big game changing episodes.
Gilligan and Gould. You know, we always lean towards Gilligan, but it's the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Would
yes,
you like to list some of this man's credits?
I would love to. Yes. So of course, Gordon Smith, he made a name for himself all the way back in season 1. He was very much like the new hire because you got to remember with the Albuquerque verse, they do bring in pretty much like, you know, like they kind of pick and choose the, you know, the crew, the director and writers and everything from Breaking Bad, and they just kind of bring them on. As, that's kind of what we celebrate with our kind of credits. You're like, oh, look who directed this episode of Breaking Bad. Now we're so far in the Better Call Saul. Forget Breaking Bad. Here's what episodes of Better Call Saul they did. And Gordon Smith, you know, he was the young buck, kind of like Dan Scanlon of the bunch. To put in Pixar terms, he had written 5-0, the big. Basically, he's the. Again, he did a huge service for Jonathan Banks with the episode that they wrote with 5-0. Again, like Jonathan Banks could have like retired after 5-0 with what he said on the Mike Ehrmantraut character, and was kind of kept getting better over time. He also did Gloves Off, another great Mike episode. He wrote that. He wrote Chicanery, one of our, you know,
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Now, remember, Gordon Smith, his I believe his sister is an actual attorney, which is why the legal terminology and everything. That's why Chicanery was so good in the writing process. And in general, when he wrote, I forget if he wrote Rico or not, but he was a consultant on Rico. So with all the legal stuff, Gordon Smith's kind of their legal go-to for all the legalese. Now, this is the second time he's directed, from what I understand. He wrote and directed Namaste as well. Or at the very least, he directed Namaste. I think it's the second. I'm pretty sure he's both written and directed Namaste and this. This is like the second time he's pulled this hat trick and did a great job. Gordon Smith's really carving a niche out for himself here. The boy became a man.
I think there is some real symmetry with 5-0 and then this episode because 5-0 was Mike's big breakout. And then this episode is like, I mean, Michael Mandow has been just kind of like that solid sort of like journeyman character throughout Better Call Saul, right? Where it's like, he's never really been the central focus, but he's super compelling when he does show up. And then this episode just goes all out, gives him just totally the focus. Dragon, we'll probably be spending like what, maybe 5-10 minutes on the kitty stuff.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, all right, you ready to just jump right into it? Get into our very Dead Freight-esque cold open.
Yes. So we have one of those. It's been a long while since. Don't get me wrong. We've had some mystery openings before, but since we haven't done a Dead Freight one in a long while. So you know, we have like this. You know, we have kind of the artsy landscape tease here of you know, we go through. Okay, it just seems to be kind of like the heavens are crying at what's going to happen at the end of this episode,
Right?
And so, Bob, should we just tee up just so folks aren't completely flat? Right? Folks, there are going to be spoilers in this in-depth breakdowns. Just prepare yourself, okay? Because I just want to say that before we go on here. Anyway. So we have a landscape tease. You'll notice on the rewatch, especially the last shot we linger on, we see the glass, a little bloody glass, but also we see a pair of zip ties that have been cut off. So there's definitely a mystery being built there. Zip ties cut off there, and then we see the rock. So the rock in a hard place.
I definitely have some theories with the glass and the zip tie.
What theory? It already happened.
I'm thinking Mike planted it.
Well, no, Tiki. Didn't we know for a fact he didn't? Well, we'll get there.
All right.
Anyway, so we have Nacho again, as he's been kind of throughout this at the top of this season. He's very much in El Camino mode. We essentially we fill in the blank of how he was able to call Mike at the end of the last episode. We're building to the link up there. We're okay. Somehow it's a buy, but it's such an earned buy. I don't care. Okay, it's a we don't care moment where it's like somehow after that crash last episode, he was able to drive off and get away from the cousin. Apparently, the cousins don't believe in running, so that's how he did it. I mean, it kind of tracks with them. They never run anywhere. I mean, can you ever remember them running?
No, I don't. They're very like Frankenstein-esque in the way they walk.
It's like Jason Voorhees. They don't need to run.
Right.
So somehow, because they walk at a very slow pace, he kind of came to and he drove away. And we have I like the motif visually. We see broken glass and shell casings in the back of the truck, which again foreshadows the climax of this episode very well, very subtly. He's realizing he's outgunned. He kind of pulls over. He's like, "Oh god!" So what he does is he just by sheer happenstance he turns to his left. He finds this abandoned oil tanker, which we had seen teased up in the marketing. Mm-hmm. So he jumps into it, and he's just it's such a tense horror movie sequence here.
This might be the most horror movie sequence in either Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul.
The thing that really jumps out to me is like, oh man, the cousins are so thorough. Where like, yeah, Nacho made the right move. It's a gruesome move, but he made the right move. Where he's holding his breath as long as he can in oil, like just oil or petrol.
The dragon, like at first, didn't you think he was fucked at first? Because it's like at first I thought it was like a very instinctive, like, okay, go into the one spot where they can't see me. But then it's like when he was in there and he was like staring out and they were like going towards him, I was like, oh shit, like. This is not good because it's like they literally have him trapped at this point.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We don't know how he was given access to that phone, so we assumed he was going to get caught in one way or another. So it's surprising.
Right.
Again, it was a really exciting sequence in that regard. But I mean, honestly, I remember when I saw this thing, I always thought it was going to be Nacho hiding out one of these things, and they're going to do like a target practice thing from Dunkirk. They're going to shoot at it, and it was possible the threat of it blowing up. So we didn't go that far with it. But still, the fact that one of the cousins is peeking his head in there is like, oh god, he's so thorough. And if he didn't get called away, Nacho was going to have to come up for air at some point in time.
I mean, yeah, it was just harrowing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I know the stuff they filmed in wasn't really oil, but I'm sure it wasn't pleasant either.
No, well, remember, I mean, when he's under the thing, he's not in the shot, Tiki. But when he dives down, though, he is, though.
Yeah, I'm saying just the diving down is still, like, you got to get in the stuff, at some point to get the shot.
It's funny, Ryan Reynolds, in the first Deadpool, he had to dive in goo like that. So it's not pleasant from what he said. He hated doing the goo stuff, and half of it got cut out. So it was
right.
So any goo, like, it's not like Nickelodeon slime kids. This is like legit like tar like goo. We saw it worked out for the dinosaurs, not very well. So so night falls. Basically Nacho waits him out just to be safe. So night falls, he finally gets out of that thing. Thank goodness. So next morning he's washing off like the oil at like kind of I believe like a garage. It's like a mechanic's garage.
Like a mechanic garage. Yeah, that's what I took it as.
Because he has like the mechanic light and everything. He's wearing the overalls. Anyway, so you have this kindly mechanic, and again, like it's so refreshing because I was convinced like, oh god, this guy's gonna turn on him or call him to sell him off.
Because this is the whole first 2 episodes, you were just like on edge. Like literally anyone that Nacho comes across is inevitably going to turn him in.
Yeah. So he, you know what I'd like to think my little headcanon for this mechanic? I'd like to think Nacho sees a bit of his father's kindness in this man. I like to think.
I did see that. I absolutely saw that, especially with how Nacho like goes out of his way to give the man the money.
Yeah. Because remember, I mean, Nacho's father, he's not a mechanic, but he does car upholstery, so there's kind of a car connection there. Anyway, so the man, like Nacho draws his gun and says, "No, I know it's okay, it's fine." So he offers to toss him like a rag to clean himself up with, and he allows him to use the phone. So then here's oh god, do we have to talk about this scene? Someone clear the shelf for Mandow's Emmy, okay?
Dragon, seriously, this scene is so fucking brutal, especially if you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, especially given that Nacho, remember, he knows that he's screwed at this point, so it's like this is Nacho.
And that's honestly that right there is what makes this episode just genuinely hard to watch in some aspects. Because the whole episode is just like a slow fucking inevitable death march.
Yeah. I mean, that's the fact. The fact that Nacho is, I just love how Mando is playing Nacho so vulnerable here. And you figure after like the last couple episodes, and he's figuring this is the last time he's ever going to be able to call his father.
Mhm.
And it's it's almost, ultimately, it's like, what if? I think the reason this scene's so powerful ultimately is that it's like, what if Mike was able to call his family before the end for him in Breaking Bad? Like, what if he remember he had to abandon Kaylee at the park,
Oh
Like,
God, yeah,
so
yeah.
that was always like the tragedy. So I'm sure Jonathan Banks appreciated this, just given the fact that he was always stuck in his crawl. They never got to say goodbye, to Kaylee, or left her in that park.
Uh-huh.
So so it's just kind of in that sense, I think it's like we're giving closure to Nacho, which really makes this special. Where it's and Walt and Walter Jr. They had terrible closure over the phone. This is a far better, far better version of that. Where the father is basically is very Mr. Varga is very loving, but he's in a rut with his son, as he has been through the last couple seasons of the show, where he's it's the son that worries him, that he loves the most here, where it's just like, son, we've been through this so many times. I don't know what else there is to say, which just breaks his heart, which just breaks out his heart, because it's like there's so much more we could say, but I don't want him to worry, and I just want him to think that I'm just not coming back. Just like don't want him to. I want him to think that I'm coming back, more accurately. So just the vulnerability that he plays, like he says, "You sound strange. Like where have you been?" And you just see it on his face that he's playing it. He's just saying it's not important. He's so emotionally raw.
Yeah, Mando, it's like he's doing his best to hold it together, but he's clearly not, and it's just like, oh, it's brutal.
And just this father reminding him, "Listen, son, you know how I feel. Let's just go to the police." And him saying, "I hear you, Papa." And just when he says that, it's just the fact that it's like the Superman 2 effect. It's like the Joseph Campbell kind of father son journey, in which, like, every parent and child, you realize at some point your father was right. And it's
Mhm.
just like him saying, this is acknowledging, like, I hear you saying, "Oh, you were so right. I should have listened to you from the jump. I shouldn't have done any of this." But he can't say that over the phone.
So then he has to take like a solid just 30 seconds to just like emotionally just recover from that. And we see it in just grueling detail. And
Yep.
again, just Mando, just give him that Emmy.
Yep. Adios, Papa. Just, oh god. Anyway, so then we have our big link up call after he recovers emotionally. The big link up call to Mike and Gus. So basically, we see what Nacho was saying on the other end of the line when he called Mike, when Mike was standing up for Mr. Varga.
Mhm.
So he basically, on the phone, he says he wants to talk to you. So we see what he was getting. He's looking forward to this scene too, by the way. So he gives the phone to Gus, and just he calls him out like, "You're so screwed right now." And like the only way this works, I've figured out the only way this works for you is me dead. So, and then not just acknowledging, accepting this, he makes a
Mhm.
bargain with him, where it's like, "Look, I'll say whatever you want me to say, do whatever you want me to do, but before I die, before it ends up killing me, but you have to spare my father." And Gus says, "Well, there'd be no purpose in killing your father if it goes down the way you said." And then he says, "I don't need to hear it from you." So he puts Mike on speaker. And this is great. And there's Jonathan Banks. Oh my god, he's so good in this episode. He's always good, but he's even better. And of course, folks,
And
we
it's
should
like, how
always.
can you not feel reassured when Mike Airman Trout just makes a promise like, if anyone wants to go for your father, they're going to have to go through me
So,
first?
folks, we like to mention at every episode that we love Mike. We
I mean,
love the
naturally.
character that
I feel
Jonathan
like it
Banks
just
plays.
goes without saying at this point.
Well, it does, but it's been a running gag for 6
Yeah,
seasons
that
now.
has.
Anyway, point being, we love him. Put it on a T-shirt. So, just like your father's going to be okay. They have to go through me. Very reassuring. Nacho pays the kindly mechanic, even though he said not to. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so then we are back to the real star of our show. Back to Saul Goodman for a spell here.
Yes. Just a little bit of Saul Goodman action. We see behind a painting, right?
Yeah, which I like the idea they're going to hide it just in case anyone comes poking around. It's like behind a little artwork, a little hangable artwork in the condo.
So they've got just like a bunch of sticky notes. And Dragon, I'm
Mhm.
sure the internet sleuths out there have already just entirely pieced together the plan based on this.
Well, I haven't figured anything out majorly, but I do know what was written on the thing, what we could see. So we had the carrot, obviously for the stick and carrot of it all. Basically, he's earmarked so far is like the parts of the plan that we have seen, potentially stuff that we're going to see. So the carrot we saw, Jay Stangle, that was the guy Kim called on the phone with the Kettlemans. Let's see, paint, which I think is for like what the car thing was supposed to be. Tour, which was the golf course, casting, which is probably stuff we haven't seen yet, Namaste for the car, obviously, and a casting call, which sounds like it's for a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's what's, and again, of course, post-it notes being a big thing and like the planning stages. Post-it, all the office supplies takes dramatic light and Better Call Saul, and I love it for that. So, anyways, Jimmy's laying out kind of the storyboard. Basically, it's like the writer's room, but in the show, which is really cute.
Yeah, it was kind of meta in that regard.
Yeah. Then again,
Just kind of visually like, here's what we got planned, folks.
but also Kim loves post-it notes, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so long story short, uh, you know, right now it seems the next stage of the plan is they need Howard Hamlin's car, so they're trying to basically get a duplicate that looks exactly like Howard Hamlin's car down to everything. The problem is they have a window. Apparently, their plan is going to really take effect on the 18th, however many weeks or days away that is. So, Kim points out, like, yeah, there's not enough time to do like the Namaste license plate, vanity plate, and everything, like to meet the 18th. So Kim suggests, well, maybe we just use the actual car. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Tiki, I don't know if you noticed this, you picked up on this. I love the intimacy of like she's doing the cufflinks, like all these like little romantic kind of married, almost like married life from up gestures.
Dragon, at this point, like as far as the relationship goes, she is just absolutely all in on Saul Goodman.
But I love that she's kind of seducing him here with the plan, where Jimmy again. I think Jimmy McGill brings up the risk, and Kim relents for a bit there. But then Saul Goodman comes in with the solution because he's been enticed. Yeah, we
And of
run a
course,
valet.
the solution is going to come in the form of Huel.
Yeah, I love that Huel.
Oh God.
So yes, the old valet scam with our good buddy Huel, and now again, Kim points out, boy, Howard Hamlin's seen Huel once in chicanery, which again, it's kind of fun. Jordan Smith calling out his own episode, really cute. But no, we're gonna do it like all the seductive slip and Kimmy of it all here. Oh, we're gonna do it like a ghost. It'll be in apparently they're like their trigger word here is like audacious. It'll be audacious. Anyway, so
before we get to that, Dragon, we got a big old fork in the road.
yes, D.A. Erickson.
Oh boy.
So
D.A. Erickson will remember this.
okay, so this is big, and Tiki, I bow to the master here. Gordon Smith, he's weaved a wonderful connection between Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul with all of the stuff through D.A. Erickson. Because remember, El Camino even this breaches all three things that we've gotten. Because Erickson had a cameo in El Camino, so the idea is that she would behind the scenes was the DA persecuting the prosecuting the the Heisenberg case, which the whole Gus Fring Heisenberg case. So she behind the scenes, she's been tracking everything in Breaking Bad. So this is her at the beginning of putting that giant string of things together. So that's kind of really cool what he did here with all this. So Erickson's in the courthouse and she's seeing the lovey-dovey couple. And she's taking note. And again, this pays off the encounter that she and Kim had in one of my favorite episodes, Something Stupid, from 2 seasons ago. When Huel was in trouble, and she called Saul Goodman the scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Kim comes by, and again, the idea is Kim's been getting a lot of these PD cases. Like, Kim, this is 6 years old. Why are you show me this? Well, it's Discovery. I'm supposed to. Well, keep the copy. So Erickson pulls her aside for a little Lalo talk here, because folks, indeed, Khalil remembered this, which means her boss, D.A. Erickson, is going to deal with this Lalo business.
Dragon, it sucks so bad. Just that a little slip of the tongue is really going to lead to like some pretty bad shit, I think.
And I think he did the best save he could, but there's just no fixing that. I mean, again, if Lalo were ever captured, on film, he's a goner.
Yeah.
All right, so essentially, again, so Khalil answers Erickson, so she knows about this, and again, she's been kind of connecting the Salamanca dots ever since the first season, which really impressed me. So yeah, she's figured out like, well, yeah. So Jimmy bailed out Nacho Varga, who was in connection to Tuco Salamanca, who Jimmy McGill pops up yet again to get that gun charge dropped, and very recently, Eduardo Salamanca, who is in reality, De Guz, Jorge de Guzman in reality is Lalo Salamanca. So again, she's basically sorry. So she's basically figuring that okay. So he's in league with him, but perhaps he didn't know. We had basically she found a loophole in lawyer-client privilege because Jimmy. Her hope is that Jimmy did not know that that Lalo was that De Guzman was Lalo. That was a
Do
Salamanca.
you think on some level she kind of figures that inevitably Jimmy does in fact know, but she's counting on him to lie about it?
Well, Tiki, I think what it is very simply, as they kind of lay out here, is that well, no, if he doesn't take this deal, if he doesn't come forward and tell her or like cooperate, because that's the thing, even if he doesn't know, that's what she's hoping for. What one way or another, if he chooses not to come forward, that's going to be confirmation that he was in the league and he knew everything.
Right.
That's going to be all the confirmation she needs. So that's the thing. Jimmy himself, this whole situation with Lana, that's the other namesake of the episode here. The rock and hard place of it all is, Jimmy Saul Goodman is in a rock and hard place with the Lalo situation he's created here. Because again, he has to respond one way or another, and he can't just like play dumb or play cool.
You know, Dragon, it's kind of funny. If only there was someone that the Salamancas are against that Saul Goodman could point to and say that that person was perhaps who did it. If only that plot line was on the table.
Yep, not anymore. Anywho, so the point being, so Erickson's offer here is like, look, if Jimmy cooperates with us here again, because there is a loophole. Plus, she reveals that as far as they're concerned, Lalo is dead, and of course, we the audience know it's fake Lalo. Speaking of which, I love the fact that Lalo not in this episode, which is very eerie that he's not in this episode. But
I like the fact that they're kind of like, because they very easily could have just had like every episode be like, oh, we gotta have the Lalo scene. What's Lalo up to? He's killing some folks.
But that's the thing. I love that it's kind of terrifying that he's not in the episode, given that we talk about him a lot, and he's.
I very much feel like it's kind of like that classic horror movie, sort of like less is more with him.
Yeah, we just need some barrels in the water. The show where Lalo is. But anyway, so the point being that they think Lalo's dead, but even so, again, lawyer-client privilege after the death still holds true. But again, a little loophole. If Jimmy doesn't know, we'll protect him. We'll protect him. But again, it's the fact that a lawyer who is friends with the cartel, who rats in any capacity, is a dead lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's very big risk here. And again, Erickson tries to moralize the kid that, 12 other people died, including that 22-year-old kid that he killed. We're not happy about this, $7 million, and he just, he walked free right out of our noses, like right under our noses. It's not great. And then Kim gets a little, she throws the Saul. It's Saul. Remember, like the Saul Goodman, he practiced under Saul Goodman now, who you called a scumbag. Erickson makes the point here, and this is again is kind of the missions. We have a few mission statements of the show in this episode too. Gordon Smith.
We absolutely do, for sure.
Where it's like she believes that look, I'm underneath all the showiness. I think he's still a lawyer, and he's a human being, and he knows what's right. And the question is, does he? So Kim's got a lot of stuff to think about, and she's going to be delivering this bomb to Saul Goodman. So we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, Nacho, he struck that deal with Gus Fring, so he's been smuggled stateside in the floor of the truck. And I got to tell you, man, inspiring image. Just Mike, who we know is on Nacho's side, giving him a hand out of a little bottom compartment. It was a nice image.
Okay, yes, it is a nice image, but Dragon, all this stuff breaks me. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, both from Mike and Nacho's perspective, because it's just like there is literally nothing they can do, and just the inevitability of it. Just it's just, I don't know. Like I said, there's just like a crushing element to it of just like, at this point he's literally just kind of like a dead man walking. It's like they even have like the ceremonial last meal and everything.
Yeah, and the last drink as well, and all that, yeah. So So let's see. So we have a bit here where Victor shows up, and again, just Victor's kind of relishing in this too, because Victor never liked Nacho. So Victor says, he's too pretty. Boss says we got to rough him up, and Mike just says, okay, just I'll take care of it. Now get out of here. It's gonna be interesting, given Mike eventually will warm up to Victor down the line.
He is. I think probably just because after this, Mike is going to be very protective of just younger people in the crime world in general.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said this, particularly with Nacho. Like, again, Mike. They have these kind of like son figures, these in the criminal world that are kind of filling the void of Maddie, who he corrupted. Where again, it's almost like a Godfather and the three sons sort of thing. Where Nacho was,
Nacho very easily could have been that surrogate son.
Yeah.
He lost his chance with Nacho, but maybe especially with someone like Pinkman, he's really looking for his redemption.
Well, that's what I think you're right about that. I'm just saying the analogy I've always used is like Pinkman is Michael Corleone, Nacho is Sonny, who definitely does not last. So definitely Sonny would fit, and Fredo is Price.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, for sure though, you're right though. He just keeps, and that's the big correlation with Nacho there. Again, he's very much seeing like the father-son story play out, and the fact that Mike always felt super guilty that he had to corrupt his son in the end. It still didn't save his life. So the fact that Nacho,
and that's essentially what happened with Nacho.
Essentially, yeah, where Mike probably could have looked out for Nacho a little bit more, but again, he kept the distance.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I honestly still think Warner was a little bit more emotionally devastating.
Well, it was. It just doesn't fit the son thing, but yes, you're right. It was
devastating. Sure. But this is still just like, it's still just gut-wrenching.
Yeah. Okay, so I love this though. I really respect the choice that we did not show. This would have been too painful if we had to show Mike doing a gloves off, sort of like Mike having to beat the crap out of Nacho. But still, the fact that he gives him a drink, one is like kind of like the last drink, a sign of honor, but also like to numb the beating that's about to occur.
So let me ask you something. How do you think that Nacho gets the glass in his hand?
Well, we know how he gets the glass in his hands later, Tiki. Not yet.
Okay.
Anyway. So, Howard Ham. Okay, no, Teak, we got to talk about this because I figured something out. Okay, I don't know if I was going to mention this to you, but I didn't want to spoil the episode.
Okay.
All right, so Howard Hamlin, he arrives, and his valet, Tony, appears. Now, Tony, given how Tony looks and everything about Tony, I am convinced our boy who auditioned for this role, he did not get it.
Oh, my God.
Think about it. Look at him. Look at him again.
I can see it. I
don't know if you're playing the episode with notes and everything right now. If you look at him,
no, yeah.
That is our boy Joshua Thomas. Had he gotten the role, which crushes me because I know that, and literally that would have been everything we wanted too, because we wanted like Hamlin to have like a little.
Yes. It would have kind of been Hamlin. Yeah, it would have like. It wouldn't have been like the dream kind of like
it wouldn't have been
like secondary role, but still it would have been like a direct Hamlin assistant.
Plus, I'm pretty sure they're at HHM right now, so it still is as close as we would have gotten. So I'm a little crushed that's not Joshua Thomas. There's a very slim chance they worked him in somewhere else during the season, but I would not count my chickens. Regardless, so again, C'est la vie. Role that should have, nothing against this young actor, but seriously could have been our boy. Hashtag Joshua Thomas. Let's see the Joshua Thomas cut of this episode anyway. So the point being, young kid,
he'll share his audition with us at one point.
I'd love to see him.
Right.
Anyway, so point being, young valet named Tony shows up. He hands him the keys, and I love Howard Hammond like classical music playing on the car, which is great. So he goes down the parking garage, deep recesses, and he bumps into Huel. And of course, oh boy, it's you, and you never bump into Huel, kids.
Yeah, as soon as he bumps into Huel, I'm like, okay, Huel did his job, no questions asked. Dude is like such a slick pro.
I love how tense this con is. I love we had like the legitimately tense thing, and now we have just kind of like the lighter tense thing this episode. Where
like Huel knows, like, okay, that guy is like on his feet. He looks pretty attentive. Like he is going to be back soon.
Howard's got a new Charlie Hustle going on here. So this kid's got some.
Does this feel like yet another thing that they could have worked Bill Burr into?
Tiki, I swear to you, when the van doors open, I was on the edge of my
Same,
seat. Like, please be built. Now,
same,
Tiki, again,
same, absolutely same.
the Tiki worst case scenario, just because second half of this season we got to be in the Breaking Bad time. If he doesn't show up then, even archivally, he doesn't show up then. Okay, that's the worst case. That's the worst case. He has to show up at some point in this show because all the Hugh love we got, they got to get
I
QB
heard a
in there.
worst case scenario involving Kim. Would you like to know what it is?
What?
Okay, so you know the Sopranos ending?
Mm-hmm.
So it would basically be like that, where it's like we have like the last shot of the episode is like a shot of Kim and she's sitting down to dinner with Jimmy. There's a song playing, and we're just like, oh God, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen to Kim? Fucking credits.
Nah, they won't do that.
Can you
Will
imagine?
never happen.
Though?
Would
Can
never
you
happen.
imagine how fucking oh my God, that would just melt everyone's minds.
Gilligan would never do that. Never let that
But
happen.
what happened? It's like we keep seeing like it'd literally be like the same sort of thing like with Sopranos, where it's like a Salamanca walks through through the door, like one of Fring's associates walks through the door, like they're all eyeballing them. Don't stop.
Okay.
All right. Anyways,
If we can refocus here a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry.
Point being, tense bit here as we have a guy who's basically kind of like a keysmith of some variety. Now, it's not just making the key, because you're probably wondering, I thought this for a moment myself in the episode. Wait a minute, why don't we just do the thing where you make the impression of the key? We've seen a million times before. But here's the thing. They don't just need the key, they need the key fob, which sometimes correlates like the car itself and everything. So that's essentially what the kind of the little remote kind of circuit board thing is in the later scene. That's what he's really working. That's what's taken so long. He's got to match it to like the key fob of the key that he's got. That's the tricky part. Anyway, and he also has to make the copy of the key as well. Regardless, ticking clock like 45 seconds practically from when they're going to be in the danger zone. The Keymaster, this guy's nickname, by the way. Anyway, so they get away with it by the skin of their teeth. Meanwhile, then we have a really nice self-reflective kind of mission statement.
This is basically just like, all right, folks, we're headed into the final stretch of Better Call Saul now. Time to sit back and reflect on the thesis of the show.
Now, seriously, Tiki, I love that this is like the second time we've ever really done this with Huel, and I love both times that we've done it. So in JM, again, episode 7s are usually my favorite episodes of Better Call Saul. So
Greg, it's crazy that this is an episode 3, and it legit feels like season finale worthy already.
Oh, yes. I mean, honestly, this feels like it could have been the break. It could have been like
totally. I feel like everyone was expecting something like this to be the break.
And again, very clever of them to kind of like
your heart out, Ryan Johnson. This really subverted our expectations.
They pulled the rug out from under everybody and their expectations. So the fact that we give Huel like another intimate scene with Saul Goodman kind of commenting on the life of the lawyer here. Well, we had it before with like the whole like, why are you getting married? So here we have it with, we give the makeshift key fob 4 locks at 5 unlocks. It's going to be important information later, I'm sure. This is really sweet to me. Saul overpays.
I love this scene because it makes all the Kim and Jimmy stuff not superfluous. It really does add an extra layer of Jimmy's character. It's almost like, Dragon, dare I say this is almost kind of like the point of no return for Jimmy McGill. It's, I know we've said that before.
Let me put, it feels more like that than directly being that. It feels like there's the Huel brought a really big element of finality to there's a very much like, well, if you say so.
Like Huel is just like laying out all these good points. It's essentially Skylar in the big fucking pile of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of that, but also
like metaphorically that.
Well, no, sure, and obviously with Huel in the money correlation, that's a good comparison. But I was going to say, it's kind of like the very early basis of Breaking Bad. It's the gray matter episode. It's like, well, he has a solution for all his problems here. So like Huel calls this out.
Right, yeah.
So anyway, so I have this beautiful moment with Huel where you ask Saul Goodman a personal question. Again, I like that they've become truly friends at this point. Where like Saul's overpaying Huel for his services, which is really nice of him. And he says, "Can I ask you a personal question?" This is like, with you and your wife, who are also lawyers, you're bringing in legit money and you get a lot of business. So why the scam? Like, why are you doing all this? And Saul says, basically, Saul in
Saul
denial.
cannot even like be bothered to come up with an answer that even sounds remotely genuine.
That's the thing. So Saul Goodman in denial, very much the way it plays here. He says he basically answers it like the way Jimmy McGill would have answered it. Like that he attempted to answer it, to Aaron Brill like a few seasons ago when he tried the con, the whole Sandpiper Crossing con at the end of season 3, where basically we're going to help a lot of the Sandpiper residents. Essentially, is what he's saying. And at the end, like a few months from now, a lot of people are going to be better, or going to be better, more well
Sure,
off.
man, if you say so.
He says, we're doing the Lord. After he says we're doing the Lord's work. So that's the fact that now taking. Here's a big speculatory thing I'm going to throw at you.
Okay.
Because of the ominous tone with Huel just saying, whatever you.
I absolutely think that whatever they're doing with Howard is going to go down in flames, Dragon. I absolutely think so.
But that begs the question, though, because remember, they do get a really nice house, which I'm sure it has a gold toilet.
Yes. So, yes.
Now here's the question. Okay. Now, is that house bought with the Walter White drug money, or is it bought with like the Sandpiper settlement?
I honestly think it's
could be either one, right?
It could be either one, Dragon. And honestly, I think there's a possibility that Kim could go down for the Sandpiper thing and Jimmy could still somehow get to keep his side of it or something.
Well,
I think that Kim is definitely going to be the one out of the two of them that's going down. And I'm not saying dying, Dragon. I'm saying like I think a couple other people have called this, but I think what's going to happen is it's basically going to be like for Kim Wexler, I think a fate worse than death, where it's like she's going to get caught. She's going to spend maybe like, a light kind of couple year sentence in prison.
But all of her like legitimacy is gone.
It's gone. And she has to fucking like move back to Nebraska and get a job at a Walmart or something.
Well, ultimately, that's kind of the thing, Tiki, where it's that Kim Wexler, it harkens back to what Chuck said about
the Looney Tunes sponsored water.
No, but seriously though, it kind of harkens back to what Chuck said about her, and this would be kind of the fine line to see how far if they would even go that direction with it. Because remember, you had that big moment where Chuck said, "You ruined this poor woman," and it's not the 1800s. She's not ruined. So again, like Kim Wexler, it's like ultimately, would she like make the sacrificial move to go to prison on Jimmy's, take the rap on for Jimmy's behalf, or would it be a thing where was Chuck right in the end about that, or does Kim do it on her own terms, and so on and so forth? Like if Kim is sent to prison, does that just lead into Chuck was absolutely right?
Sure,
I don't know. Regardless, it just begs the question for me ultimately, I think the worst way this could go, possibly, I don't mean worse in a bad way. I'm saying I think the worst way the whole thing could go up in flames is if Jimmy and Kim's scam, it works in a way that, let's say it works too well, and that perhaps the residents don't get their payout. They did too good a job in ruining, Howard Hamlin. This case maybe does not get settled at all. All those poor people got completely screwed out. Kim did a disservice to old people, which is the last thing she would want to do. And either the only way they get that money is through just the Breaking Bad money, or how HHM goes under and Jimmy possibly inherits Chuck's share of the M and HHM somehow.
Yeah,
possibly. I don't know if legally that would all work, but I'm just saying in terms of thinking how things could possibly go really wrong with these best of intentions, and the two of them, or at least one of them, kind of making out making out really well at the end of it. So we'll see. All speculations, folks. Like in a court of law. That's speculation, Your Honor. Anyway. So, okay, let's see. So after that, Kim loops Jimmy in on the meeting about, Lalo is dead, and basically the big question of Kim, not saying what Jimmy should do. She says, Jimmy, do what you want to do. It's just a fishing expedition.
I think it's really telling at this point that Jimmy just he just cannot approach the situation without Kim's advice. It's like Kim is just so much in the driver's seat with everything right now.
I read the scene is like, again, continuing on the track that we've been doing this season. I think it's Jimmy snuffing at how much of Kim Wexler's left. Like, how far gone is she here? Where it's like, what do you want? What do you think I should do, Kim? Where her advice is, well, you want to be a friend of the cartel or a rat? Which, again, you go rat. Basically, she's saying that
And
Jimmy
then
doesn't
I
have
think just the way that she phrases that, it's just like, okay, like friend or rat, just the fact that like one of those options, there's a positive connotation. One of those options, there's a negative connotation. It's like she clearly is suggesting what route she wants to take.
That's the thing. I think she's just really saying that, like, yeah, you really, Jimmy, you don't have a choice here. I phrased it like that, but you really don't. You cannot rat, or else you're gonna die. Meanwhile, speaking of dying and such, so
yeah. Oh God.
All right, so to set things up, Gus, we have a scene in the trailer on the chicken farm. Gus, Mike, and Notch. And pay attention, this is where you're going to learn where the glass came from.
Dragon, you know what really sucks about this whole thing is just the fact that it's like Nacho has been nothing but loyal to these people. And literally the only thing that he's getting punished for is by being a victim of circumstance, and basically he's a human equivalent to a pawn who's about to be taken out for Gus's fucking games.
Absolutely.
And it's just so infuriating. It really is.
I mean, had Tuco not gone crazy and blown people up with a shotgun, because he was high on meth, he would Nacho would have stayed in line. He didn't really want to take over anything or take out the Salamanca because he kind of had to for his own safety. It was a domino effect. He took out Tuco, which then made Hector a problem because he had eyes on his father. It's a whole domino effect. He did not want to do all this. He just wanted to be Jesse Pinkman. He just wanted to make the money and just do the job. He didn't want to be Heisenberg.
Right.
Anyway, so Gus, Mike, and Nacho, they're basically setting up a story, with Bolsa. That Bolsa's going to be there before you're handed over to the Salamancas, and the plan essentially, say, was Alvarez is part of the Peruvian militia or something, or has militia ties, which would have explained, the hitmen that were there, probably Peruvian hitmen, I'd imagine. Regardless, just say that you've been on their payroll for a year, you run while you're zip tied, and Victor is going to shoot you in the back of the head and make it quick. That's what the plan was supposed to be.
It's just great, it's just awesome. Awesome. It's I'm still gonna die either way. I'll make it quick. Okay, that's very reassuring.
I mean, look, Mike. I know Mike feels terrible about this whole thing. He's just giving as much comfort as he can. It'll be quick.
It sucks, man. It sucks.
Now, so outside,
I mean, obviously, it's nail biting and compelling, and the whole time watching it the first time, you're just kind of thinking "Oh God, there's got to be some way Nacho's going to be able to get out of this, right?"
And again,
body double.
Well, no, that's the thing, though, Tiki. The tease, though, technically, if you look at the episode, on the rewatch especially, that I see what they were kind of leading you down the path of to the really observant viewer, had they noticed it. Again, if you see those broken zip ties and a piece of broken glass at the top, if you put it together that, wait a minute, he's going to be zip tied, and we know the zip tie is going to come off, so maybe he got away somehow. So it's the false hope. It's he's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of which, so again, Mike wants to be there, which of course he can't be there physically, so he's going to be there as a sniper to make sure nothing goes wrong. Basically, he wants to make sure Nacho doesn't get tortured. That's the main thing. So, worst case scenario. And again, this teases up the tension of, oh God, is Mike at the end of the day, if something goes wrong, is Mike going to be the guy who's going to have to shoot him in the head from a distance?
Dragon, that is literally the only thing that I can take comfort in. Is the fact that Mike himself did not have to pull the trigger.
On the rewatch, I caught something really special with Mike because I was so caught up in the initial thing, what happened to Nacho, I just missed it. And it was it's so elating to the heart. We'll get there.
Okay.
Anyway, so Nacho's alone and just grabbing a drink of water. And this calls back, again, this pays off Gus dropping that glass last episode where, Gus Fring, I don't think they ever changed this in Breaking Bad, but retroactive would have been nice to see if Gus Fring only has plastic cups in the office. So you'll note, so Nacho grabs a glass of water and he drinks it. He looks down at the glass, and that's where he gets the idea. That's so off screen he broke off the glass and he hit it.
Okay.
That's how we got the glass. No one knew about it. So Nacho's in the van. He's zip tied. He gets zip tied. His mic gets out and gives him like that last sad look. You see the cracked piece of glass in Nacho's hand, which it's going to bleed later because he has to hide that thing. And zip ties are not exactly comfy. So again, Nacho's just in agony this whole episode. Anyway, so then we have, oh boy, folks, grab the inside out tissues. So we arrive at the rock in the hard place, the rock in the desert. Our namesake image of the episode basically happens. We're at the scene, folks, where
Nacho's last stand.
So perfectly composed, like the two sides, like literally Nacho has always been in the crossfire of these two cartel factions. So Gus Fring and company and the Salamanca cousins and the Hector in the wheelchair. I love the Hector's in the hat and everything too. It looks great.
I do too. I'm glad you brought that up. I really like how everyone is just like in their Sunday best. The cousins have their suits.
Yeah, because remember, like in Better Call Saul, Hector Salamanca still made an effort to dress up and everything. Where in Breaking Bad, like Tuco just didn't. He looked like a wreck in Breaking Bad with Tuco. Anyway, so so Bolsa is in the middle, basically offering Nacho like a quick. And seriously, how great was Bolsa this episode? We never talked enough about Bolsa. How cool was Bolsa?
What I like about Bolsa is that he has kind of like that fourth wall breaking line almost, where it's like, "I'm going to give you a good death," and it's like, yeah, you are, It's going to be a really good death.
Basically says like you're going to. He spells it out. You're going to die today. It could be there are good deaths and there are bad deaths.
Right. And it's just like we as an audience, we're just like, okay, God, please at least not have it be painful. And it's like, at the end of the day, Dragon, as sad as it is, there are obvious elements of this death scene that are cathartic as hell.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
I think that was kind of like the best case scenario for this situation.
So the big question that Bolsa has, and I love how we frame it too, because behind Bolsa, you see all the Salamancas, and we know from think about how wonderfully full circle this is for Nacho's character. Going back to the second episode, going back to Miho, Tuco, the way the Salamancas operate, they have like a toolbox in which they were had wire cutters. They were going to snip off. Oh God, they're going to snip off fingers, which freaks me out. But they were going to do terrible stuff to Jimmy in the desert. So now Nacho is like on his knees in the same position as Jimmy, and same position and everything. And he's essentially being interrogated here. Like the Salamancas, they're going to basically torture you until you're begging for death. I'm offering you a quick way out. Just tell me, was there who put you up to this? Basically to confirm, like Hector's, like basically the big proof moment that was set up that Hector Salamanca is in on the plane with Lalo. Like, hey,
Hector just so wants Nacho to finger Gus in this moment, Dragon.
I know.
That's all he wants. That's all he wants.
Margolis, without even saying a word, he conveys so much, and you read every little emotion, like it. No, don't let little rat think he did it. He did it.
Oh my God.
So anyway, I love this though. Nacho's making Gus sweat because he hates him. He's just making him sweat.
Nacho, I love how Nacho is technically speaking. Mm-hmm. There is nothing that he is doing that is outside of the lines of exactly what Fring requested him to do. But
he's relishing it. He's relishing it.
He's absolutely bringing Fring down a peg while he's doing it.
Yep, where he looks at him, just making Gus think, "Oh, what happens now?"
Totally.
Because again, like Nacho did call it out, like he technically has Fring over a barrel.
Isn't it great to have Fring just legitimately on edge for the first time ever in this universe, Dragon?
I'm gonna get to it in a minute here. I want to talk. I think I'm gonna make a case for Nacho broke bad, but we're gonna get there. Okay.
Okay.
So the point he says, like, it was he gives him the whole Alvarez story and everything. You see his hands starting to bleed because again he's basically preparing tearing through the cuffs while he's basically stalling as he insults the Salamancas. You hear that bell ding and like Hector knows that he's lying. He's pointing at Fring and he says, "Well, is there anyone else?" And he says, "What,
Dragon?" At this point, I feel like the tension is more or less on the same level as Crawl Space.
I mean, pretty much.
I
Like,
mean, it's so elevated. It's so elevated. It's just like every little thing that is going on from the bell to the pointing to to Mandow's performance, and oh my god.
well, you know what? You know my read on you know what it was very reminiscent of for me, like Mando's last stand here. You know, with performance wise, it felt like a combination of Grilled, where Walter White is stalling for Jesse. The whole like, we tried to poison you because you're a diseased, degenerate piece of filth and deserve to die. It's a little bit of that, and it's a little bit of Jesse Pinkman chewing out the neo Nazis, dropping the F bomb. It's a little bit of like those two scenes put together. So yeah, so Nacho, he takes the opportunity to insult Gus Fring, laughing like, the Chicken Man. Well, he's a joke. They were paying me for years, but I would have done it for free because I hate every one of you psycho saxo. You know what?
Okay, is this where you think he starts to break bad?
Well, in a minute. So at the honestly, it just with his demise, that's where he officially broke bad. So again, I like that there's some truth in that because Nacho, he kind of similar to Walter White. He had hoped for civility in the business. He was wanted, like Walter White, just wanted to like deal with a businessman. And as Walter White learned with Gus Fring, it takes gruesome acts to achieve that level of businessman, like a smooth operation like that. So Nacho indeed learned that the hard way. So you get a sense that Nacho, like, he's absolutely speaking from the heart with like why he hates the Salamancas. That's what broke the whole thing with Tuco and everything in the end, anyway. Because Tuco's got too violent for the sake of violence versus business. And it's just like Lalo. He was a soulless pig, and I wish I could have killed him with my own hands. And then we have the big reveal. Oh god, and this is like the whole I watched Jane die equivalent here, where it's like big reveal. Hector, I put you in that chair. Like and which think about it, T, that's the ultimate cover of
I'm glad you brought up the I watched Jane die, because a lot of people have been comparing that moment to this.
Think about it. This is the ultimate cover, just in case Fring got ticked off at him. It's like, well, no, absolutely, I'm not in league. I'm not in league with Fring because he brought back the guy I was trying to kill with that pill reveal. So yeah. Let's see. So every time you're sucking down Jello for the rest of your life, think of me. You twisted. Drops the F bomb. You twisted F. And so Nacho then, let's say, so Nacho, again, like Walter White, takes the opportunity and kind of distraction of like the big rant, and he's broken free of the cuffs and he stabs Bolsa in the leg. Takes him hostage with his own gun. And big tension here, like, oh god, is Mike, because we know Bolsa's going to live. We know for a fact Bolsa's going to be okay.
Right, right.
So it's like, oh, Nacho. It's like either Mike's going to somehow let him get away, or that's probably not going to happen. Mike's going to kill him or not going to kill him. That's the big question of the scene. But on the rewatch, Tiki, Mike says do it.
No, I know. I noticed that right off the bat, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was so caught up in the moment, I didn't realize it. But like, oh my god, Mike, he's not going to pull the trigger at all. He's rooting for Nacho. He kind of wants Nacho to pull the trigger.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's rooting for Nacho.
Like, Mike can get out of the cartel really easily. Like, yeah.
My honest read on this whole thing is that if Nacho somehow managed to get the upper hand on the situation, then Mike was going to snipe all those motherfuckers.
I mean, I didn't think about that. You're right, though. He could have, yeah.
He technically could have, yeah.
He technically could have, for sure, yeah. I mean, if he shot Gus first, I mean, that's the thing. He had to kill Gus's men first because they didn't know roughly where he was at, particularly Gus. But yeah,
right.
Anyway, so seriously, just this. I love though Jonathan Banks what he does here with that scene. That was in perfect recognition. Right before Nacho does it, you'll notice Banks recoils because he knows. He's seen that look on so many men during the war. He knows he's about to kill himself right before he does it. And I love that. Even from like kilometers out, you can see it in the scope because he knows that look. Nacho, he just, bang, he shoots himself in the head. He took revenge from the Salamancas.
And this is just the perfect death for him, man. Because it's so he takes ownership of his death. It's not going out in just just the traditional being dragged out into the desert, put on your knees and shot in the back of the head. It's like there's so much more agency here. He caused so much destruction on his way out.
So that's my point about the Breaking Bad. So he's So again, so Nacho going out on his own terms, he took the satisfaction away from Fring of his plan coming to fruition, where he was going to die on Fring's terms. He took the revenge from the Salamancas, and ultimately, Nacho's death is like a chef's kiss death of perfection. Because, again, think it, he got all the way to the top in the world of Breaking Bad. Like he met Don Eladio. He outfoxed both Don Eladio and Lalo. He met him and survived. He think about it. He got he basically he almost killed Hector Salamanca. He put him in the chair. He put Salamanca in the chair. He he outfoxed Gus Fring by convincing him not to kill his father, so he knows his father is going to live. So Gus Fring does not get his way, does not get his revenge. He stabbed Bolsa. Like he basically screwed over everyone at the top tier levels of the whole cartel in Breaking Bad. And for a while, when things were going good for him, he was in charge of operations. He was running the Salamanca organization until Lalo showed up. So I mean, he is yet another example of someone who broke bad in the universe. So again, much like we have like different kind of levels on the spectrum here. Like we've seen how Walter White did it, we've seen how Gus Fring did it. Jesse Pinkman was the only one who lived to tell the tale at the end of the day. So it's fascinating that he broke bad in his own way, which like most people like they go the Scarface way, like between Walter White or Scarface, in which you die via gunfire.
All right.
Am I crazy with that? Like that's it.
No, I hear you. Right? I hear you.
So just tragedy though. Mike's bittersweet acceptance as he walks away, and then Tiki, tell him about what Hector Salamanca does in response to this.
Oh goddamn, man, this is haunting.
Yeah.
The cousins just lift Hector by the wheelchair, just lift the full wheelchair.
Oh yeah.
Up to Nacho's body, and the episode just ends on Hector just continuously shooting the body.
I just love that. Again, Hector can barely move like the one hand, so he's put the gun in the hand.
I feel like it's both terrifying and absolutely pathetic at the same time.
Yeah, I'm so glad you used that word, Tiki, because that's the thing. Gus Fring, he takes it in stride and he just walks off and he gets in the van. And the Salamancas are boiled down to what they are at the end of the day, basically saying everything Nacho was saying was absolutely correct. And everything Gus Fring has said about the Salamancas is absolutely correct. The Salamancas are a bunch of wild dogs. They're all primal rage and like pure machismo and emotion. It's like the composure just taking the loss like a big boy. Or you're just going to be pathetic and like, I have to shoot him many times. Bang, bang. Bang bang, and we see the Nacho's body and the bloody broken glass from the cold open, and it's like gunshots, bang bang. It's just this.
The gunshots like go into the credits.
I know, it's great.
Yeah.
So it's just perfect in every way, and yeah.
All right, there is one hanging chad that I'm very concerned about, Dragon. All right, okay, and I already voiced this to you over Skype.
Yes, you did. We should talk about that. Yeah.
I am terrified that Hector is going to go after Poppy
because he does know about Poppy.
He knows all about Poppy. He knows that Nacho is close to Poppy. He knows where Poppy works. Dragon, I honestly think that at least for the next bit of episodes until the break, I think Mike's big story is going to be making sure that Hector does not get to Poppy. And ultimately, I think I definitely think there's going to be a huge emotional scene where Mike has to break the news to him that Nacho's dead. And that's going to be absolutely gut-wrenching. I feel like that's coming.
I don't know if the viewers can take that, Tiki.
And I also think that ultimately Mike's goal is going to be he's going to have to convince Poppy to get out of Dodge.
Remember, he swiped that passport, so so he does have an escape route for him.
That's what I'm saying. So I absolutely think that Mike and Nacho's father interacting, it being kind of like like an escort mission, if you will. I really think that's going to be the next thing on table for Mike is going to be to protect Mr. Varga at all costs.
Mr. Varga might be the closest Mike gets to redemption for Warner, by the way. So that's the thing, because I think if I forget if Nacho's mother is still around. I think she is. So I know. Here's the thing. I know Nacho has like I don't know if they're not Grant. I don't know if he has like nieces or something. Because remember, like one time Nacho, when Hector Salamanca came by, he told like Papa like for this family member for like I think the girls or something like the nieces or like whoever like some family that he name dropped. So Nacho's gonna have to. So there is something going on there. I don't know if Nacho has a mother that is on stateside with his father. Maybe they're going to cross the state lines to be with. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But I think you're absolutely right though. That prediction never occurred to me until you brought it up. Like, oh yeah, it's a great call. That yes, Mr. Vargan. The fact that Nacho kind of overplayed his hand by really insulting Hector.
Totally. It's like his father is safe in the eyes of Gus, but it's going to be no holds barred when it comes to Hector.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's got to be Mike trying to save him. Otherwise, it's going to be too sad. Of like, nope, just like,
I mean, I hope to God we don't just pull like a like a Jesse's girlfriend situation. I forget her name. Andrea, right?
Yeah, Andrea is the one who got shot.
I hope to God it's not something as quick as that, Dragon. Jesus.
Well, look, imagine it was just that's what I'm saying. Let me ask you this: if they did just go the route of like we horrifically kill off Mr. Varg, which I don't want to happen, let's just if it did, because again, the fact we do have an escape route for him makes me really not want him to die.
Well, especially because it would literally make Nacho's death like for nothing in Nacho's eyes. Because Nacho literally died for his father.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, worst like the only way you possibly like make that effective would be like if Lalo himself was like the one who killed Nacho's father.
I mean, yeah, but even still,
I know. I concur. I'm just saying you could shoot it horrifically, but you're right. That would undercut the death itself. So I think you're right. So ultimately, I'm hoping we do have like a Mike Convoy episode, Mr. Vargas. So. I'm thinking you're absolutely right. So we'll see how that goes. Now, Tiki, before we get into any further like speculation from like the teaser, I think we should make a call.
Oh dear. Okay. 1 second. Oh, it's around here somewhere, Dragon.
I asked you if you had the phone. Why?
Yeah, I did have it. I looked right over it. It was there. Here it is. I got it. Okay, hold on. Okay, number please.
505.
Okay.
842.
Okay.
5662.
Oh God, I know who we're calling.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We gotta do it. One last time.
Oh God. What?
What?
The phone guy is no longer just the phone guy. I'm the law guy. Your law guy. That's right, Saul Goodman, attorney at law. You meet the law, you want the law to meet me. Leave a message after the beep. I'll get back to you before you sleep.
I've been misled.
Okay, that was supposed to be Nacho's number, right?
I'm pretty sure, but
Dragon, they disconnected Nacho's number.
I'm gonna double check this, okay? Because I swear to God, like I typed in Nacho Vargas' phone number, and that's the number that came up. But because I know I must also be. I wonder if they just disconnected the number. Okay, Tiki, did you see the promo for like the next episode?
Yes, I did.
Okay, run through some speculation. I'm gonna look for it.
I mean, as far as spec goes, like I don't like to go just based on the promo because the promo tends to like exaggerate stuff and have red herring shots and all that. I do think that next episode, the big critical thing that we're gonna see is going to be the Mike link up with how Jimmy knows about Lalo. And it's going to essentially spell out the Ignacio story that Saul is going to have to tell. It's basically going to connect all the dots there. That's my big prediction for next.
Okay, episode. I found the right number, but I know exactly what happened. That was that number was from last episode when we covered it. And it was written on the top of the page. I have.
Okay.
Okay. 505.
Okay.
242.
Okay.
6087. But we had to get more Jimmy in the episode, so it's okay.
Right.
Nacho, leave it.
Oh, he's gone.
That's Dragon. That's honestly just like a little chilling.
Oh, poor Nacho.
It's literally like in real life when someone dies and you call their fucking voicemail to hear their voice.
Well, you know what it's really like? It's like we're calling Jane's phone number.
Oh God. Oh, that's morbid. That's fucking morbid.
So, but yeah, so someone's following Kim, and she's gonna call him out next episode. Someone's been following old Kim.
I have a feeling this is going to be in relation to the law pursuing Jimmy.
Okay.
Like a private investigator or something. I don't think it's going to be. What?
I was going to say, do you think it's going to be Hamlin, or do you think it's in relation to the Lalo case?
I think it's in relation to the Lalo case. That's my prediction.
Okay, we got a little tease of Hamlin. We don't know what Hamlin's doing off to the side here, outside of like just driving, just giving his keys to the valet guy.
Okay, you're right. The valet guy could have showed up as a reoccurring role. God damn it.
Anyway.
What could have been?
So Gus Fring, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. Let's see. Because I'm sure there's a question if Salamanca is going to gun for him regardless anyway. So maybe just Gus is being careful. And you know what's funny? We could just... I mean, we know for a fact... I guess we know for a fact because he did get shot when he was... well, no, he didn't get shot. That's the thing. Gus Fring, he might... Imagine this. Do you think Gus Fring's wearing a bulletproof vest through all of Breaking Bad?
It's definitely possible
because he was poisoned in Salute. He wasn't. But then again, when they removed his shirt, he wasn't wearing it. So I guess that anyway. The point being, he could have been. I don't know. He could have been armed up for a lot of Breaking Bad. Who knows? Until here's the thing with Hector Salamanca, we know he's going to end up with Tuco. So at some point during this season, that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a question of things are going to die down, the whole Salamancas versus Fring thing, for at least for a while. So Hector Salamanca is going to be kind of punished again. It's a question of how's Fring going to pull that off? So I guess we'll find out. We're still hanging out the nail salon, and we're going to have Spooge, the ATM guy.
Yes.
Before he was a meth addict.
Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah. I was wearing a kind of a fancy Texan suit. And let's see. Oh, and this is interesting though. Everyone at the courthouse is freezing Saul Goodman out, like the clerk that he always bribed with the with the Beanie Babies, and Oakley. I think they're going to look down him because of this Lalo thing. I think they're trying to put the screws to Saul Goodman. So
I really think he's going to feel a lot of pressure to go to the police about the situation.
Yeah. Okay, one last thing. We have an episode title and a very special director next episode.
Ooh.
So the episode's called Hit and Run, which, if I recall, given our opening, I'm pretty sure I patterned it after this from probably the original Saul Goodman commercial from Breaking Bad, Hit and Run. The whole hit and run, leave you stunned sort of thing. Like Hit and Run is kind of based off one of the lines in the Saul Goodman thing. Now the director. I want to say they're a first-time director. I couldn't find any of the other work that they've done directorially. Ray Seahorn. She's directing.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that.
I think she and Giancarlo are directing this season. I'm not sure, at least this half. So we'll see. Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Exciting. All right. I think it's the first time in Better Call Saul, because in Breaking Bad we had Cranston direct. This is going to be the first time we've had one of our Better Call Saul alumni direct. Okay. I guess that brings us to an end. Don't forget to check in with us next week, kids. And remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
And with that, we are adjourned.
We could totally be lawyers.
Totally.
Oh, Nacho.
Don't you dare touch Poppy, Hector. Don't you dare touch Poppy.